Okay, so The Last of Us, one of the most anticipated TV shows and video game adaptations of my entire life, finally dropped on HBO. And what did I think about it? Well, it was fucking spectacular. So there already has been 2 episodes that have dropped. I just watched the second one a couple hours ago, and I am in awe of how they managed to adapt this story to a TV medium. They are taking some liberties with it, but the essence of the story, the essence and the atmosphere of the video game is still present, and there's just nothing else that I've seen adapt this well into anything. TVs, movies, anything. Books, video games, anything. I've never seen such a great adaptation. Maybe Harry Potter, the first couple books, but this is just something else. Now, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as Joel and Ellie, at first I was kind of, that wouldn't have been my first choice, but these people know what they're doing. Let's just give him a chance, show me what you got. And they nailed the parts. Episode 1 starts very much like the video game, but they added about like a half an hour of extra content to it to give us context of the situation of Joel and Sarah, and they even gave us a little like a 1960s interview at the beginning of the episode, which was very cool because they fill in the viewers that don't know anything about this content, this IP, and they fill them in a very natural, organic way. It was great, because in the video game you kind of go around and look for notes, and but that wouldn't work in a TV. They can't stop every time they see a little piece of paper and read it. That works in a video game, doesn't work in a TV show, so I get why they did that. The other change I am not so big on, but I don't really care that much, but I still, part of me wishes they did it, is the spores. Now, I know I know that in a realistic environment, a real situation, spores would most likely be everywhere. They most likely wouldn't be able to go out without a mask on. But I still believe they could have pulled that off. I still believe they could have, people could suspend their disbelief a little bit just so they could do the spores. But they went a different route. Now the infected have these little tendrils, little tentacles that come out of their mouths, and that's how they pass it on to people. And it adds a very spooky effect, a very disturbing element to the whole infected situation, but it kind of becomes a lot like every other zombie show, where in the original Last of Us, there was a special aspect to it. There was the spores, and if you breathe them in, you kind of turn. But in this one, they got rid of that, and in getting rid of that, it kind of became, it took a little bit of the specialness, of the uniqueness of the Last of Us world. But yeah, even though that I still would have loved to have the spores, I love how they are adapting this story. This world feels like The Last of Us. It feels like the world I played. Also, it's really fun to look at the show and compare it to the video game, and look at places and set pieces and go, oh, I know that's from the video game. I see that. And it gives you that nostalgia, it gives you that element of, I recognize that, but it doesn't take away from the experience for people that haven't played the game. I like that they made Sarah, they gave us more time with Sarah at the beginning of the first episode. And they did that because that's how people attach to characters in TV, with screen time. That's how they get, emotionally connected with that character. In video games, they made us play as Sarah, but obviously in TV they can't do that, so they gave us a lot of screen time with her. So when she eventually inevitably died, that had a harder punch to the gut emotionally. And it still hit hard, man. It still hurt. I've played that scene so many times, and it still hurt. I got teary-eyed. I'm not even gonna lie. On God, I got teary-eyed. It was harsh. And that's what this show does so great. It captures that magic again. It captures that pain and that emotional brutality all over again, and it's beautiful. It genuinely is beautiful. I really like that they brought some actors from the game and they carried them over to the TV show. That was cool. That, for example, Marlene is the same actress that played Marlene in the game, and it was spot on, obviously, because she's Marlene from the game. You can't really mess that up. And they clearly cut some subplots here and there for the sake of adaptation, and one of those was Robert's thing where they go and kill Robert. That worked in the video game, didn't really work as well in the TV show, so they kind of scrapped that a little bit and made it different. So when they got to the place, Robert was already dead in a gunfight with the Firefly. And it was so funny when Joel first encounters Ellie. It was very much like in the game when she just jumps him and he swats her like a fly, like effortlessly. So at the end of the first episode, it was when they escaped the QC, the quarantine zone. They escaped the Boston QC, and they encountered this one guard, which they already gave us backstory with, but they already gave us a connection to Joel with that guard, and it kind of made it a little bit more personal than in the game. In the game, it was some random guards that banged them. This one has a connection to Joel, and Joel beats him up to death. He beats him to death, and Ellie sees this, and she's kind of taken aback by it, but kind of, it's like, oh, holy, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like it. Yeah, you do that. It's kind of fucked up. It's kind of like a fucked up relationship starting right there. You can see it in her eyes. It's really disturbing, but it's cool at the same time. Now, I noticed something at the end of the first episode. I saw it in other places too. They were complaining about it, and I gotta agree with this, that the bite reveal was a little bit rushed. It was at the end of the episode. Joel already killed the guard, and they kind of just brush over it. It's like, I feel that people that are not familiar with the source material are gonna be taken aback a little bit by that. It's like, wait, hold up, what? And they just end the episode right there. And in the game, they kind of made a pretty big deal out of this infected girl. It's like, wait, hold up, how? Wait, what? And they simmer on it, and they have a little conversation about it. In this, they did not, and that kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, but I get it, it's TV, they had to move on. I still think they could have sit on it a little. Now, I really like to guess where they're gonna end the episodes. Like, I remember from the game, and I think, okay, that's a good place to end an episode. That's another good place to end an episode. And this one ended where I thought they were gonna end it, like them leaving the quarantine zone. Episode 2 starts one day after the events of episode 1, and they have the conversation that in the game they had right outside when they escaped the guards. They have it right outside the gates. And this one, they waited a little bit to have that conversation. And yeah, that was a pretty good dialogue. They added some stuff, they took away some stuff. I like that. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Now we're getting to the parts I really loved about the games, which is the world exploring. We get to see these places that are consumed by nature, and just see the remnants of cities and society and the cars and the buildings and all of that consumed entirely by nature and infected. And that's the part I was really excited about, because that's the part I loved most about the games. And we got a little bit of that when they went into that hotel, and Ellie just started playing with the bell, the reception bell, and the luggage cart, and that was pure Ellie. I was kind of on the fence about Bella Ramsey for Ellie, But that one scene with her playing with the reception stuff, yeah, that cemented it. She's Ellie for me. Yeah, this she nailed it, because it's her fascination, her playfulness, her childlike awe of the world before the outbreak that makes Ellie such a likable character. It's just great, because she's a tough badass, but she's still a kid, and she's curious about the stuff, and she's playful about it. And yeah, I love that. They kind of added a new aspect to the infection, a new aspect to the whole cordyceps, and that is if they're all connected through the ground. Like if you step on a patch of fungus in one place, they're gonna feel it across town, and they're gonna go to that spot, which adds a new level of horror to the whole world of the Last of Us, because they anywhere you go, you might wake up some infected miles away from where you are, and they're gonna know you're there. So yeah, and then I saw the after episode thing where they explained that that's a real thing that happens with fungus. They're connected, and they feel when you activate another fungus in some other place. And that's horrifying for this world. We got to the part that I was really looking forward in this episode. That's the clickers. When they go into that museum, I already know, oh, they're gonna come across some clickers here, and it's gonna be gnarly. And sure enough, when they walk in the door, they see this corpse, this dead guy, pretty fresh looking dead guy, all scratched up and his face torn up, and yeah, and they go, oh, what the fuck did that? And they're like, quiet, just shut the fuck up. And sure enough, when they go upstairs, they see the clickers, and they nailed the clickers. So it was perfect. It was perfection. The movements, the sound, just the way they go, they turn, they suddenly like have this weird movements, and they really create this tension with it. They create this level of panic that you really don't know what's gonna go, and they play with the camera, they play with the angle, so you really know where is that clicker. They're gonna turn the corner, is he there? Because they stay quiet for a little bit, and then they start doing that clicking noise again, and they nailed it. They nailed the look, they nailed the sound, they nailed the level of panic you feel when you come across them in the games. Is perfect. Everything I wanted from the clickers, I got from that scene. It was beautiful. They eventually, killed them, the clickers, and it looked tough. Like that, they took a couple headshots, they took a couple hits, and it was great. It was great because that matches the level of difficulty they present in the game. When they get to the Capitol building, I know what's gonna happen. I know Tess is infected. I know the reveal. And again, this is one of those moments that I prefer how they handled it in the game that in the show. I know they had to adapt it. I know it's different. I know it's two different versions of the same story, but the games, I feel, gave you more time with the circumstances, and the reveal that Tess was infected, in my opinion, a little too quick. Joel didn't really show a lot of emotion there, as in the game he was like taken aback and kind of in denial at first. Then they kill an infected that's crawling in the door like, I'm gonna get you, and that wakes up the horde of zombies they saw earlier in the episode, and they all are gonna go to that spot. So Tess start dumping gasoline all over the place, and I'm gonna buy you some time. And then she drops a couple grenades, she dumps gas, and they bounce, and then the infected get there, and she starts doing this thing that I hate, this cliche thing that I'm sick of seeing in movies and TV shows where they lighter don't light. She starts clack, 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 and it doesn't light, and I'm like, get close to the floor and do this and spark it. It's not rocket science. A little bit of rocket science, but still not hard to do. Then this is something that it really bothered me. It really made me go, what? It really took me took me out of it a little bit. And that's when the infected got close to her and kind of like kissed her, French kissed her, and the little tendrils came out of his mouth. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, but wait, no, I do know how I feel about it. I don't like it. It kind of felt cheesy, it kind of felt tacky. Kissing infected, they don't go around kissing people. They, it would have made more sense if he turned and then bit her in the neck or something, and that's how the tendrils came out. But I guess they needed a way to show how it would work, mouth to mouth. But we can make an idea of how that would look. I don't think it was necessary for you to make an infected kiss test before she blows up. I don't know. That's just me. I didn't like that. Also, I feel that explosion would have been bigger with all the gas she dumped and the grenades she scattered all over the place. I think that would have taken out a chunk of the building if that was, a real explosion. Because keep in mind, these buildings have not gotten any maintenance for over 20 years. So yeah, I feel it would have taken out a big chunk of the building. Anyways, now that Tess is out of the picture, we're gonna really get the emotional development between Ellie and Joel, because they're gonna be on their own for most of the story now. They're gonna come across some characters, but for the most part, they're gonna be on their own. And next episode is Bill and Frank's episode, which I'm really stoked for. Nick Offerman is gonna be playing Bill from the games, and I really can't wait to see what he does with that character. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on the first 2 episodes of The Last of Us. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about these 2 episodes? Do you like the adaptation? Do you like the way they're going? Do you really prefer for them to stick a little bit closer to the games in some aspect? Let me know all of that down in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe also, that will help me a lot. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace.